Hey there folks, this is Sinus. I'm bringing you a quick, well, hopefully quick tutorial video on the Super Mario RPG randomizer. And I wanted to give you a couple of quick bits of information about the website and how it generates and some information on the flags. And then I know most people are probably here to try and reduce their times a little bit and get like a good starting strategy. So we'll get to that as quick as possible. But first, let's generate a game. Some notes on some of the flags. I always like to randomize key items, so these flags will cause uh, key items to be shuffled with other key items in the pool. So wherever you get the rare frog coin, you can say find the shed key or cricket jam or something else like that. And so these are only shuffled within each other. You have the option of adding the seed and fertilizer to that pool. There's some pretty powerful items behind those. And also the bright card. The bright card has been made into a key item in this game because it allows a shortcut to Smithy, kind of like Final Fantasy 14 or Final Fantasy 4 Free Enterprise. Also want to randomize the star pieces, so I'm actually not going, well, yeah, let's include Bowser's Keep. And so this will shuffle 6 star pieces with the 7th on Smithy. And you can choose to shuffle all 7 within the pool and just have defeat Smithy with no additional star, but you would still have to beat Smithy to clear the randomizer. And you have the option to include Culex's Lair if you want, if you're doing some sort of challenge run. I don't really recommend this one. It will significantly inflate your game time. But if you're looking to do everything, then you might as well. Randomize characters, so stats, spell stats, join order, learn spells. These are some of the most fun things in the randomizer. Is randomizing the characters and their join order and so on. Also, you can get your palette swaps here. You cannot currently change, can't pick what palettes you get, but you can get randomized palettes. You can exclude certain characters and choose starting characters. You can also choose to start with a single character, or you can choose to start with characters to make your life a little bit easier. So highly recommend digging into both of these. You can leave Bowser's Keep off of this if you want to significantly reduce the complexity of where you find star pieces early on. And then Smithy's factory becomes unlocked whenever you get 6 or 7 stars if you do R7. Treasure and rewards. This one I don't mess around with too much. I mean, restrict to worst items is pretty, that's a like a sadomasochist thing, right? Weak items, you could do that if you're trying to force more shopping or trying to keep yourself from inflating your coins too much. Exclude best items is a good one if you just want to roll a fun seed and actually have a hunt for good items. But most of us play with T4, which is just any item can essentially be anywhere. And that makes every single treasure chest exciting to open and to find and all of that. There are a couple good ones in here. There's no exclude side quest reward spots is one you can do. So you can make your side quest rewards be what they were intended to be. You can do no coins, no frog coins. I actually kind of like no coins, so that you get items from every single chest, but a lot of people play with coins on. No flowers is a possibility if you want to force yourself to buy them or something like that. No recovery mushrooms. I usually get rid of those. That makes the game, they're pretty unpredictable. If you can't really count on them, what's the point in having them? Experience stars are currently very limited. That's going to be expanded later in 9.0. But this is not a 9.0 video, so I'm not going to get into that too much. And if you really want to have a fun time or a long seed, you can include key items. So that will take all of the key items listed here and shuffle them into the general pool. So instead of having, 12 or 13 locations that you potentially have to check in order to finish the game, they could be anywhere. And these include like behind the red doors and all kinds of nasty stuff. And I think within that you can do the 3D maze, Qlex's lair, 30 super jumps, or 100 super jumps. I love this flag for bingo, which I'll show real quick next before we get into the actual randomizer, but I don't like it for generally trying to grind out runs and get good at the randomizer. Um, so this is a chaotic shuffle, so any chest can contain anything. You can also do biased shuffle, which puts better items in harder to get chests. A vanilla shuffle, which is so you take every single item that's in a chest and swap it with another chest, essentially, and then you can do all empties, which okay. You can choose to automatically replace the worst chest items with coins. That's sometimes a little bit quicker than going and selling. I prefer the inventory management. I think it's a key part of the randomizer. Monster Town Shuffle is a pretty good one. Really like M2 as a flag, so this kind of mixes together the Super Suit, Attack Scarf, Quartz Charm, Jinx Belt, all these pretty good items, along with some of the crappier ones like Zoom Shoes and Froggy Stick and so on, and kind of mixes them all up within in their own tiny little pool. You can exclude them elsewhere if you don't want to get some of these overpowered items elsewhere. But this one's kind of nice because with your chaotic shuffle, you may not be guaranteed to find a super suit out in the world or an attack scarf or something like that, and it may be restricted to a shop that's very hard to reach. So having this on makes quests worth doing where traditionally they might not be if you don't leave them um, shuffled, or if you choose to ignore them for the most part. If you know exactly what they are, why would you do them? Type kind of thing. Randomized shops. This is pretty good. We're taking off free shops. That was for a tournament a while back. But you can turn on free shops if you want a nice easy seed. That makes it go fast. You can just buy a bunch of rock candies and spam the seed though, which I'm not a huge proponent of. I don't think that's a ton of fun. And then, like the treasures, you have chaotic, biased vanilla, and empty shops as possibilities. But I like, again, to kind of include everything, which makes kind of hunting for things and doing, coin grinding trade offs good or bad, depending on your situation. Enemies and bosses, drops, formations, stats, attacks. These don't have a huge effect on the game, but they're enough to make them interesting and find enemies in sometimes unexpected places, and sometimes find them to be a little bit stronger or a little bit weaker than they used to be. Randomizing bosses, however, is a big part of the randomizer. So potentially having Axum Rangers show up as your first boss is like, oh my god. But then maybe you get, Hammer Brothers somewhere like in the Yuridovich location, makes it a little bit easier. Or you get like a magic boss in a Jinx location where there's just like no magic stat to be had, type kind of thing. You can include Qlex in the shuffle, which I'm not going to do today, although I usually do, just because I don't want to run into, what the heck, we'll throw it on there. And then don't scale stats means that if you were to, say, find Axum Rangers at the Hammer Brothers location, they would have their original Axum Rangers stats. So they would be very, 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 basically impossible to beat early on at level 1 with one character. And so they would have the stats that they normally have in their vanilla locations, just in a different location. If you leave this off, then they will scale to their location. So even if you find Axum Rangers at Hammer Brothers, for example, it will scale, their total HP pool down to like 100 HP, which makes them, beatable at least at level 1 with the right strategies and potential setups. Randomize equipment. This is another thing that I think is really important to do. You can take off safety checks, and sometimes I do that to make it a little bit more interesting and to force a little bit better play. And it also opens up the randomizer to give you a couple of extra stats here and there, or different options that you might not normally see. Um, but the stat windows have changed in the actual randomizer to give you more information than what you got in the vanilla game. Experience boost, I would highly recommend double or triple experience. This makes it much more rewarding to be very good at platforming, which is difficult in this game. And so, you want to be rewarded for not running into enemy encounters. And so double and triple experience normally feel like a pretty big handicap, and something that might leave a bad taste in your mouth to play with. But in this particular randomizer, I think it serves a very good purpose in dramatically shortening the game and rewarding good platforming and smart play. If you want to go the opposite direction, you can turn off experience. And I haven't messed with this too much, but that might be fun for like a low level practice. You could potentially create an almost vanilla ROM with no experience and do like a low level run with a lot less RNG, right? You wouldn't have to rely on the shell game in order to get rid of all your experience. Experience progression, I'm not a huge fan of this. So what this does is it changes how much experience you get whenever you whenever you get the power stars in the overworld, and it will change the amount of experience you get per enemy killed, um, or per enemy kicked, or run into, based on the number of star pieces you have. And so there's a balanced and a difficult option, or you can just turn it off completely. I'm not a huge fan of this because I always like to have that option in my back pocket, that you can grind very, very quickly with an experience star rather than fighting battles, and that will significantly reduce your playtime. To each their own, though. Mini games. There's a couple cool changes like randomizing ball solitaire. That's a harder one. I think this used to be like a quote unquote hard mode flag with the red box, but now it's not. Magic buttons is pretty straightforward. The Dr. Topper quiz is fun, but I would not do it if you're trying to go fast because there are some esoteric questions in there that require a great deal of knowledge about the game and or the randomizer. But if you're just playing around for fun, that can be good. Tweaks, boss glitch, and exploit removals. You can remove max skip if you want. So if you're doing a race ROM and want everybody to be on even footing, you could get rid of max skip. If you want to, reduce the handicap there a little bit. Although you should probably learn that. Fix Magikoopa. So what that means is Magikoopa, whenever they detonate the King Bob-omb, it does an attack called Big Bang, and after that, it's meant to be like an instant game over type kind of thing. But in the randomizer, it's possible to survive it, and so Magikoopa will get stuck and not take any further actions after that. So if you put this flag on, Magikoopa their script will resume after Big Bang and keep going. But I generally don't mess with any of these. No instant KOs on boss allies. That will keep you from abusing Geno Whirl too much. And then hard mode one, you can turn off the intended Geno Whirl on Exor, or at least I think it's intended, although it's here, boss glitch and exploit removals. Maybe it's not supposed to be intended, but I thought that it was. It was a well-known thing anyway. Fake out, change the fake mushroom status. There's a mushroom that has an ellipsis in its description, and so you can change it from having a poison effect to one of the other status ailments, with a 1 in 8 chance of that being like a red essence, which is pretty awesome. And that can be a huge bailout thing. It's fun. It's an item, it's a throwaway item normally, but you might at least check it in the randomizer if you have this on. Randomize Bowser's Keep door contents. So Generally, when we race, we do 2 Bowser doors because that's enough to go pretty quick without doing too much extra stuff. And you can significantly manipulate the red doors and avoid battles if you do this pretty easily, and make some good decisions and trade-offs based on what you pick. You can do the vanilla, which is 4 doors, or you could force all 6 doors, or you could go to 1 door, and you can also shuffle them within each other. And I know some of the members of the community don't like this one, but so each Bowser door has 3 sections, and this allows all of the sections to be mixed up. So instead of getting 3 battles in a row, which is vanilla behavior, you might get a battle and an action and a puzzle, or battle, action, battle, or any kind of combination of those. And so that's definitely a nice randomizer touch. It adds randomness to the game. Enable the factory warp is the shortcut. If you go to the casino with the bright card, you can warp directly to Smithy. That shaves about 15 minutes off the run. That is, kind of a trudge at that point, and helps the randomizer finish pretty quickly. And show equips is a new flag that we requested, and love that it's in there now. So regardless of whether you've recruited a party member or not, you can always see who can use what items, which is nice. It was not always that way. So having that information ahead of time, so say you find an attack scarf or whatever early on, knowing that it's only usable on one character who's trapped in the mines might mean that you decide to sell it and prioritize some other type of purchase. Or knowing that it's useful on all 5 party members, you might be like, oh, I gotta look for more of these, type kind of thing. So show equips is really useful and allows you to make more tactical decisions. But if you want to get slapped with a randomizer hammer, you could also leave that off. So this looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and make that. And I'm going to go ahead and not show you my PC dialogue. So let's show you how to roll a bingo seed real quick. So this is fortunately all done through Bingo Sync now, and I wrote this, so this is me. This is my thing. So you have to have, I think, all this stuff in here, and if you go to Bingo Sync, you have to put in all this information, which does not take a lot of time, and scroll down, and Super Mario RPG Randomizer is now in here. There are no other variants. Lockout is fun if you're playing against somebody else, so only one of you can get a square at a time. Seed, leave blank if you want a random seed, and that's pretty much it. You make the room and pop in here, and you get a whole bunch of cool bingo objectives, which is a really kind of different way to play the game. And this is my favorite way to use the TK flag, which randomizes all of your key items into the general pool, which is normally kind of a frustrating experience because it can artificially inflate your run. But the randomizer is designed in such a way, or the bingo is designed in such a way, that you are probably not going to need all of them. In fact, are there any on here? Oh, here's one. Find 4 keys, right? So there are 6 keys in the game. There's the shed key, temple key, elder key 1 and 2, castle key 1 and 2. And so this one is find 4 of those keys. And odds are you're going to find probably 2 to 3 of those pretty easily, and then maybe have to dig up a 3rd or 4th one. And so that bingo has its own preset on the randomizer site. But you can play it however you like. But this is a super fun way to play the game. I would recommend starting out with double or triple bingo, right? That's getting 2 or 3 bingos. That usually takes about an hour to maybe an hour and a half or so. You could do a blackout if you wanted. Lots of people love to do that, and I have changed a lot of the objectives to be more blackout friendly. We did have, when we started, some mutually exclusive ones that made it difficult to do a blackout card, but it is more or less easy now to do a full blackout card with bingo. So that's a good one. I like to do kind of a modified version of blackout, which Lack Attack was the first one that I saw do it. He does what he calls a 2-hour challenge. He just rolls a card and does as many objectives as he can in 2 hours. And it's a great way to put like a finite, time cap on your adventure and see how many of these you can get. I have finished a card, I think, in an hour and 40 minutes or an hour and 45 minutes, but generally 2 hours, I get somewhere between 20 and 25 of these, and that's pretty solid. There's also lots of really fun esoteric things in here that you wouldn't normally do in a randomizer, right? Or that you wouldn't normally do. So Watch a Gekit attack itself is one of my favorites, and probably DT's favorite too. Have your picture taken is a good one. Let's see. Win all 3 crook battles. Witness monsters FP is gone. Defeat a Final Fantasy, and there's like 125 different objectives. It's not the deepest pool in bingo, but it's pretty big. So there's lots of fun ones in here that you might not normally do, and some of them require some game knowledge. So like a stun on Croco 1 or Mac, you can stun Croco with Mario with a fire attack, and you can stun Mac with a lightning attack, which is vanilla behavior, but not something that you may have access to whenever you play a game of bingo. And so there's lots of cool things that you can do with that. Anyway, let's switch over and get to the part that most of you are here for, which is actually doing some strategy. Oops. Got rid of that ROM that I just generated. There we go. I hit generate another instead of what I was supposed to. Go ahead and do that. Load it up. So I do play on SNES 9X, but you are more than welcome to load this up on, however you play your SNES games. Wow, I haven't done one of these in 6 months, so this ought to be interesting. Alright, and you can see we got a little palette shift here. We got Zombie Mario. We'll let the rest of this be a surprise. The word tutorial gonna fit? I haven't done the math. Yep. Just. So I do have a timer on my doodad here, but I'm not going to run it today. I do have a tracker here. This tracker is also made by me. This is available on Emo Tracker, and there's a lot of different configuration options in mine. I currently have it set to show characters and key items, but you can also have it show all of your boss progress. It has a map. It has a bunch of stuff. It has current logic for version 8.29. When 9.0 drops, I'll have to redo everything. But for now, it's up and running and ready to go. And it has logic in it, so certain chests are blocked by key items or whatever. It takes all of that into account. Alright, so we did not shuffle key items. So immediately under the bed where a flag is, you'll find a key item, Cricket Jam. So I'm going to do what's called a world tour, and I'll kind of talk through it. Some people like to start with Mushroom Way immediately. I don't like to because there can be a boss there that is difficult. I like to go through things one time as much as possible, and if I have to do a revisit, that's a time loss to me. So I don't like going into Mushroom Way early. Some people do because the chests are really accessible, and if you make a mistake, the enemies there are very weak. Let's see. So I usually go to the Mushroom Kingdom, get a couple of free chests, and take a look at the shop and so on. And do I go in the front? Yeah, I think I usually go in the front and pick up a couple of items. And this route is done in such a way that you might have a couple of items to sell immediately. EXP booster. Oh my. And then you'll see here, this chest has moved, and all of the hidden chests are now visible in the randomizer, which makes that a much less frustrating experience. Happy Shell, Flower, Froghorn. We'll pop over here. Max Mushroom. Power Blast, very, very useful in this randomizer. Having party buffs is something that can save you a lot of time. Muku Cookie is like a group hug, like a cheap group hug. Well, not cheap, but it's an early group hug if you don't have access to one. Sheep Attack is very selectively useful for certain bosses that have minions, but not all of them. Don't use it on JJ right now. And then generally, when I scroll through these, I look for high-priced items, right? High-priced items, I'm going to be like, oh, what is that? So let's see. Amulet has a pretty high price because it halves lightning damage and nullifies ice damage. Feather is sometimes good. Troopa Pin is usually better than it is. This one has KO protection, which is why it's more expensive, but it doesn't really do much of anything else. Not too much else to talk about there for right now. Alright, cool. So Mallow can wear the experience booster, which we're going to take pretty good advantage of. This Happy Shell is pretty middle of the road, so I'm going to use it to get some early money. I like to have 20 or 30 coins on really early, just to buy a couple of things. Oh, and there's a couple of flowers down here to get. These are not currently randomized, but they will be in the future. There we go. That was pretty good. You can get that by waiting for the NPC to walk over there, but you can also get it by jumping from the stairs. Bandit's Way, I don't like to do early for the same reason as Mushroom Way. I like it to be a one and done kind of thing. Arrow Sewers we'll circle back to later. I and many other runners like to enter Caro Sewers from the Land's End shortcut because we try to actually avoid Land's End as much as possible, and that route allows us to get a lot of treasures from Land's End and end up in the Caro Sewers, where we will be significantly stronger at that point. And be able to one and done it. Midas River, don't go here unless you're playing bingo or something like that. There is one item there that if you're doing a key item shuffle, you might have to check that. Tadpole Pond's a good stop on your world tour. Check the shops. So this is the Frog Coin shop. Red essences will be expensive. Oh, here's a good example of something that has changed. So, flower boxes are normally, they sell for like 500 coins or something like that. In the randomizer, they're going to sell for probably about 70 or 80. And the reason that is because it has appeared in a frog coin shop. And if it appears in a frog coin shop, it won't show up in a regular shop. And because of the quirks of the randomizer, it will sell with the frog coin value, but it won't give you frog coins. It'll give you regular coins. I'm not sure if there's any plans to change this. I don't think there are. That kind of stinks. So seeing something good in here is very much a I might have to do without this for a very long time. We do have a cricket jam here, so we can go turn that in real quick. But this is only worth frog coins. The amount is randomized, and I didn't actually need anything from the frog coin shop, so maybe I shouldn't have even done that. One other thing that you can do is you can come over here and do the first song. And this will get you access to a key item. And getting key items early can be good, particularly if it gets you the shed key, which can give you access to a ton of shops and items that you might not ordinarily have. You're also always hunting for the bright card. Cricket pie. So we can see a perfect example of, hey, maybe I should have waited a minute to go turn in that cricket jam, so now I gotta backtrack, which is something I hate doing in the randomizer. But we'll do this. This has, because of the Monster Town Shuffle flag, this could be a super suit, or it could be crap. It's an attack scarf, which is very, very good. So good, I'm gonna look at it right now. That's very, very awesome. I don't know who can use it without being at a shop right now, but it's good. Not epic, but it's good. Go ahead and mark some things on my tracker here for you, in case you're following along at home. We turned in both of those. Roseway, don't go here. I think there is 1 or 2 randomized items in here at most. It is otherwise just kind of a death trap. Rosetown is the next stop. Lots of people will pop in here and just get this first chest. Look at that drill claw. So sometimes that can be pretty good. Here's another key item. The dry bones flag. I don't know if it's vanilla. I know there's a flag back there normally. Let's see. Who do I talk to? So this skips all the cutscenes in the open world version, and staying here gets you access to a free item from Toad. And this is usually an okay item. Ice Bomb. Pretty worth. Do I usually do that? These are not currently randomized. But they will be later. Enter the shop through up here. Grab this. Mystery egg. Mystery egg will probably just sell. There's no need to go through all of the rigmarole of getting that. Sleepy Bomb is pretty good. Sell some stuff like this mystery egg. That's free money, is what that is to me. Drill Claw is bad. So only Mario can use the attack scarf, but it's pretty good, so I'm gonna hang on to it. I got a little bit of money, so I'm gonna buy a Sleepy Bomb. That might come in handy on a couple of bosses with extra enemies. There's our super suit. It is monstrously good. I guess this is a good time to kind of talk about the stats window. So this reduces lightning damage to 0, that's the upper left. The next thing down is speed. Speed is not very valuable in this randomizer because you cannot lap enemies or take additional turns. So I almost never prioritize speed. Sometimes it lets you go first, which can be very, very good. But other than your very first character, I don't think it's really worth looking at. And most of the time, I don't prioritize it at all. Below that, 79 attack, 68 plus 68 magic damage, so this is an offensive powerhouse. I think the highest it can roll is 127 or 128. This has no armor, but at least it's not a negative. And it has 93 magic defense, which is very good. So, as you may know, in Super Mario RPG, you can block a lot of physical attacks. Not all of them, but most of them. So this is what I consider pretty much an ideal roll, right? I don't care if something has armor or not. I care very much if it has magic defense, because you cannot block any magic attacks, and you can, if you are skilled enough, block many of the physical attacks. And then whatever else you get is great. So this is wonderful. We'll want to find Gino and Mario are probably going to be key members of our party. Here, the bride-to-be ring, as it is. It's not a bathtub ring, it's a bride-to-be ring. Has a double arrow up next to its magic defense. That means that it starts Geno boosted. So it can be shredded and removed, and you would have to recast it. But you do start with a boosted stat whenever you have this double up arrow without having to cast Geno boost. Awesome. There's a ghost medal that has it on magic, so if you want a magic character, you probably want to look for that. This Jinx belt looks very, very good for Bowser because it has plus attack and plus defense. That's something I would probably take. Force Charm usually looks like this. Has lots of boosted stats, but not very high. So they can be good, particularly in the mid-game, but not in the late game. Generally, my opinion is that raw stats, like the Super Suit and the Attack Scarf, are very, very good all game, and the boosted stats are situationally good. They can provide a substantial benefit if you don't have anything better, or if you can't find anything better. But yeah, the threshold, these become less and less useful as the game goes on, and you have more access to things like Power Blasts. Great. So let's see, Dry Bones Flag. I'm going to do the Pipe Vault now. Pipe Vault is your first kind of platforming challenge, and you'll notice that I haven't saved yet. I'm pretty confident in this, but you may want to take a save before now. But most of the enemies are not too bad here, but you can get a pretty rough roll and cause problems. You want to go down here. I usually skip the frog coin, but some people will go for it. To get it, you want to run up here and press down at the last second. That's how you do that. Come up. The next one is this guy. So this guy has 3 prizes. 2 of them are randomized. The first 2 are randomized. The other 2 are not. I do not generally do this. But if you have your key items mixed in the pool, he can absolutely have 2 of them there. So make sure you have 20 coins whenever you go through there, if you're going to do that. And also the strategy on that game is to get the minimum score that you need in order to succeed. So 20 and 22 points respectively. And this is the first save that I take because it's on my way. There's another key item here. A seed. So that's half of what I need for the Rosetown Gardener. You also need to clear the forest boss in order to open up the Rosetown Gardener. Moleville, another shop to check, but I would not actually go into the mines here. The items, the very small number of items is not worth getting this early on. And all the time, I'm looking for reasonably good weapons. I haven't found anything super exciting yet. Hero shirt. I think this is going to be good for Mario, because he can use the attack scarf. But I'm going to probably wait to buy anything until I finish the rest of my world tour, as it were. Skip Booster Pass and hop into Booster Tower. There are many schools of thought for how to handle Booster Pass and Booster Tower. I'm going to tell you mine. If you have the Elder Key and the, what's it called? The other key for in here, the Room Key, then you may want to go up and actually unlock those rewards, because that's potentially a free Super Suit. I don't have any of those, so I'm going to hit this button to unlock the extra chests at Booster Pass, and then immediately nope out of here and grab the Seesaw chest. And this takes me right back to the entrance. So it's a very short dip into Booster Tower, and it enables you to get a lot of chests out of Booster Pass with relatively little time investment, and there's no boss here. So you can very quickly clear this. And also, when you approach Booster Pass from this direction, you start at the back, which is pretty advantageous, rather than going from the front. You can maneuver up here and usually avoid that fight. If you run into that fight, Star Egg, very, very nice. And then I'm just going to jump off the edge here, and that's going to take me towards the beginning, or the exit, which is where I want to go. There's a frog coin in that bush. And I did skip the enemy killing animation because it's very long. Booster Hill, generally don't want to do this if you're trying to reduce your time. Most of the time, physical attacks are going to carry you through the game. Pop in here, we are just looking at a shop and one item. So this is a pretty big one. Oh, great. That's starting to look okay. Man, not too many good. There's a good one. So that's an impressively good starting weapon for Mallow, and that might be really good for Gino, who's going to have a super suit. So that'll be like 140 attack and boosted for Gino if I get that and a super suit. That would be pretty great. I would be sitting pretty with that. Lazy Shell's one you want to look out for. This can be potentially good, but it's usually skewed defensively. Scrooge Ring, it doesn't say it here, but it still is half magic costs for those. That, unfortunately, is not a property that is transferred to other items or accessories. If you want to, you can peek at the boss at Marymore if you want. We check Star Hill. So Star Hill is a potential star location without a boss. It is the only one of its kind. This is kind of maintained from the vanilla game where you can get star number 4 here. And I'm not the best at running through all of the different stars here. I used to be pretty good at it, but as you can tell, I'm pretty rusty. But this is, as long as you don't run into anything, this is a free check, and then you never come back here. There are no chests here, so it's literally just a star check. So it does not matter at what point in the game you choose to do this. It is always equally good or bad. Equally bad today. No star there, and so we're done with it. We will never come back here. Pop into Seaside Town. So Seaside Town has 2 shops, and see the Exor is there. That would suck. We're not going to be there for a while. This is an overpriced shop because it's an enemy shop, but you might find things you can't get anywhere else. Oh, here are the 2 mushrooms, so you can see this one recovers is misspelled and it has an ellipsis. So that's how you know that it's the weird one, the fake out mushroom. Fright Bomb is potentially useful. Pure Waters are interesting, but if you're running into battles with ghosts, you're generally doing it wrong anyway. Not shirt. Mega shirt. Nope. Nope. Jump shoes. Nope. So nothing of real interest to buy with our frog coins other than red essences, I think. I think we have enough for one. Sunken Ship. I guess we'll pop in there in a minute. Right now we're going to do the sea. So there's a shop in here. So we'll do that first. Goodie bag, never buy one of these, but if you happen to get one from a chest, it usually sells for a ton. A great item. Sia, we might buy that. Having the safety of a Sia to run away is very, very nice. Otherwise, it's a 50-50 shot to run. Not seeing anything else super exciting here. Fuzzy dress is interesting. That hero shirt again. Alright, yeah, I think I'm gonna buy this, just for safety's sake, in case I embarrass myself. I'm gonna sell my flower tab, my mystery egg. Nothing else to sell right now. This is okay, I think I'm gonna hang on to it. Potentially okay. That looks bad. I don't know, I'll probably end up selling that. And we'll just keep the rest of this for now. So we have nothing else for Mallow, but we did find that experience booster super early on, which is great for what we're about to do. So we're going to do something called death abusing here. So in this game, whenever you game over, you return to your last save, which is now set to here. And all of the enemies will reappear, and all the chests that you hit since you saved will respawn. And, importantly, all the experience that you got, you keep. So, all these level ups that I'm getting from Mallow right now will be kept if I game over. I guess we can talk about picking skill ups. Mostly, I skew offensively, so if I see more than 4 HP, I would say 4 HP is worth 1 power or magic to me. So if I see 5, I've got to be getting 2 or better on my attack. 5. Let's see, that one has 2, so I'd rather that. And I'm planning on this being mostly an attack-heavy seed. Now, I'm still at a pretty low level, so I should die pretty easily here, depending on RNG. These stars can be real dorks sometimes, though. Like they're being right now. So I'm gonna do an untimed attack, so that hopefully I take maximum damage. Are you kidding? Not a single... This is the type of RNG that I routinely get. This is normal. There we go. So, game over. Back to the save point, but Mallow is now level 5 instead of level 1. So you can do this over and over again. I recommend that if you're new to the randomizer, this is a great thing to do first. I think a lot of people frown on this. It's used in the speedrun to its fullest extent. And I think it's a good way to get a leg up and to make your early game pretty safe. Especially if you pick up an experience booster like I did, you're going to get probably an extra 2 levels with a lot less effort. Without the experience booster, you know, take it or leave it. We survived, which stinks. Yeah, so it does have diminishing returns because as your level goes up, you start to take less damage, it takes you longer to wipe. So I would say 2 or 3 loops is pretty good. I'm going to, because I'm very confident in my abilities, I'm actually going to clear this star this time and save it with it used up. So there's an item here. Depending on how I'm feeling that day, I may or may not get that. It's reasonably quick, and you're gonna be full cleared with this when you're done. Rock candy, pretty good find. Another lamb's lure. Lamb's lures are Not great. You can use it in place of a sheep attack, but it takes a lot longer. Heavy preference on sheep attack. Lamb's Lure is probably a pretty safe sell, especially if you have multiple of them. We're gonna skip over Land's End and come back to that. That's gonna be where we finish our world tour. Free chest there. We can see who the first boss is here. So this is Dodo. Dodo has 100% blockable attacks other than his Flutterhush. So you could potentially do that pretty early if you wanted to. Some interesting things there. Nothing I want to buy right now, though. Pick-me-ups can be very hard to find. I would usually buy, as soon as I see them, just buy 5 or 6 and go from there. We did find the Star Egg earlier. That's a super safe item to have. It's like a free bomb. Now, it does take a long time, so it's not preferable to use a Star Egg if you have a faster option, but it is super safe, and sometimes it is the fastest possible thing you can do. Sailor Pants are okay for Mallow, but they're pretty expensive. Let's see, what am I? I want to get rid of these Lamb's Lures, I think. Anything else I can get rid of? I think I had all that before. So what else is there to talk about? So in here is your 3 Musty Fears. If you get all 3 flags, you touch the lamp there, the amoeba lamp, and that will get you reward for that. Talk to this Thwomp 7 times, and this key item will fall down. Grab that. An Alto card. Nothing to do in there. This is the Culex fight location, and that's Monster Town. There is a hidden save down here. This is another great one to get after making some progress. It's right on the way. Especially since we're going to be coming up on something else interesting. So, Bean Valley, you could do it, but there's really only one exit unless you go through the bosses. So if you're going in there, you're diving for treasures, and there's a lot of bees, and bees are some of the hardest enemies in the game to avoid. So I don't recommend going in there. I like... Oh yes, I know what I like to do. So I like to go to Nimbus Land, and the first thing that I do is this. So some people say, if you want to get money, this is a great way to farm early money, is on these vines. Now this has a very high skill threshold to do this well. Because it's isometric platforming, it can be extremely frustrating to get good at this. That frog coin, though, explicitly is a trap. That frog coin is cursed. Do not go for that frog coin. It is absurd. But if you can do this quickly and consistently, without running into... Wow, that was bad. Without running into any enemies, this is a great place for about 100 coins, 150 coins or so, along with some frog coins. There we go. So you can loop around here, or you can take your chances with that enemy. You can sneak by him. You get 4 free chests here that are reasonably high value. And then I like to take this opportunity and go directly into the volcano. And if you want to, you can do another star in here. I really like this route for bingo. I like it a lot less for a standard playthrough. But there are 2 quick and easy chests here. Oh god, Pidge got me good. Oh, almost got me really good. A Yoshi candy there. And then I usually just pop out of there. And the only reason I do it is because it's on the way, right at the hot springs. Otherwise, you know, it's... When are you gonna... You're not gonna go into Barrel Volcano for hardly anything. You can go sleep on the Dream Mattress for an item if you want. Do this. Check one of our last shops that we have available immediately. Might be a weapon or 2 in here. This is good. So it's not as good as the hand cannon, but it's cheaper. It does have KO protection, which is pretty awesome. I like it. Ow. Too bad he has the super suit. That would be really good for somebody else. Unfortunately, only Gino can use it, and we're going to be gunning for the super suit for him. So this might be a good Bowser weapon, actually. That's what I think. So my final party is probably going to be Mario, Bowser, and Gino. So this might be a justifiable pickup this early, but I think it would be better to get the hand cannon if I can. So I'm really close to getting that. Ooh, yeah, there's something I can sell. Earlier times, not as useful as a Sia. I would usually sell those. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's really bad, although I'm not wearing anything else. It's so bad, I'm gonna sell it anyway. Still pretty good. We picked up this fire shell. That's okay. I really hope... If I'm using Toadstool, I'm probably in trouble, but we'll hang on to that. This, I think I can safely sell. Yeah, so we are super close to getting that hand cannon. So I'm gonna bypass any other purchase here. And we're gonna go up to Garrow's house. So when you talk to Garrow, you start the statue minigame. And you should complete the statue minigame. It unlocks this boss in here. So even if you win the statue minigame, you do not currently get the star for credit for it if there is a star on this boss. What will happen is the boss that's here will appear in the next room up. This is one that a lot of people miss. They'll skip over Garrow's house and go straight into the Nimbus Palace and never do this and forget this location exists. So this boss can have a star even if you win the minigame or you skip the minigame. I always recommend doing it because it is the same speed, it's faster succeeding than failing. The curtain minigame, I recommend failing, because it's faster to fail than to win, and the item usually isn't that good, it's never going to be a key item. Bowyer is an interesting one there. And then this is probably the most challenging part of the World Tour that I do. I would not recommend doing this until you're very good at it. Another star egg. You don't need two, so that's worth some money to me. Oh no. I got hung up. Cool. We have enough speed that we're going to get out of here. I don't think a star egg would be enough to get me through this. Okay. That's better. There's a key item here, though. And a regular item. So sometimes that key item can be huge. So if you had not seen a super suit or an attack scarf, and you find a shed key there, that could be super useful. Or if you find a cricket pie there and can go turn that in, that could turn into something very, very good. So generally we try not to leave key items on the table. So all in all, not too bad for not having done this for like 6 months. And that's all unlocked and done. And that's Nimbus Land. Very, very challenging but rewarding part of the randomizer. So what did we get? Alto card, frog coin. I think I got something else, but oh, we got the seed. Can't remember what else we've gotten. We're starting with Bowser's Keep unlocked, so I'm going to go through this area. And I probably would not normally do this, so this is more kind of challenging platforming to do very early on, right? If we run into enemies, we're in pretty big trouble. But again, the randomizer can really reward good platforming. So if you can do this well, you can potentially get rewarded. Super Slap is something I haven't seen yet, so that might be good. And there's also, Croco is here. he usually sells a significant amount of armor and one item, so there's potentially good stuff in here, but the probability is kind of low. But if you haven't seen a super suit yet, I would check there before I write it off. Oh, this room is a hidden room, but it's back here. Most people don't know about it. And in the randomizer, this chest is broken. So this chest happens to contain frog coins. So you could, if you wanted to, farm frog coins just like that. I'm gonna take a save here. But I don't need frog coins for anything. So let's see. Anyway, that is by far the fastest way to farm frog coins in the randomizer, if they're available, but that chest can be randomized, so, you know, it could be a total dud, it could be one regular coin, or it, you know, could be something else. So you can't really count on it. Alright, great. So we've done our world tour. I'm feeling reasonably... Oh, I need to go get a weapon. So we're gonna try and go get that hand cannon. And I kind of forget where it's at, to be honest with you. It was either... Was it in the sea? I don't know. I don't think it was one of the super early places. And I haven't had to store a lot of memory for a while, but when you get good at it, keeping the stuff in your head, you'll get pretty good at the game. That double punch is not too bad. Super slap is bad, though. So this is an example of a bad weapon, right? This is something you want to sell as soon as you see it. It has some resistances, which raises the price that it sells for, but it has almost no damage. And most of your damage is going to come from your weapon or a super suit if you have one. So we want to get rid of that for sure. Only Mallow can use this, and I have a better weapon for Mallow. I'm going to dump that. And now we're on our way to the next thing that that we want to buy. We don't need 2-star eggs. And so now we're pretty much ready to play the game. I was talking through the tutorial, so that probably took, I don't know, 30 or 40 minutes. But if you cut out as much as you possibly can and get very, very good at that, I think you can do that version of the world tour, including Bowser's Keep, in probably about 20 minutes, maybe 25, somewhere in there. So now we're going to pop back into here, and if you're not feeling confident, you know, let's actually do it that way, because I've been out of practice for a while, and sometimes having one extra character can make all the difference. So we're gonna go back and we're gonna full clear Mushroom Way and get ourselves an ally. We're gonna get Bowser. I usually like to do these battles. They take a little bit of time. There's no need to time your attacks here if you are over leveled like I am and have picked up a good weapon. So we got a lazy shell, which we'll probably sell for a significant amount. And from here on out, I'm kind of playing, well, mostly to have fun. What do we have here? Poison gas. I'm gonna do, so there's 3 enemies. I'm gonna go ahead and pop a star egg. Probably be faster than waiting through all of their animations, even though this is like a 10-second attack. So I am still kind of technically going through my early game here. Eventually I will stop. But while I'm still going, I will give as many tips and tricks as possible. There are a lot of things to tell about this randomizer and idiosyncrasies of each boss that you fight and so on. this is below 1, and his script will be altered so that he cannot swallow me. So, there we go. One hitter quitter. I got that 1 in 256 miss though. Classic Sinus RNG. And so now we pick up Bowser. And Bowser will be at level 1. He will also come with nothing. Oh, that's good. We'll put a couple of things on him. Nope, he can't use the... If you're feeling really strong, maybe you picked up a super suit in addition to what I picked up, you know, you could go... A highly aggressive play would be to go to the forest next and pick up another ally. But that is a deep check for 1 star and an ally. I will sometimes skip forest altogether if I don't think I need the character from there. Because it is a really long single check. Oh, here's how you do this room. Without, you know, missing that one. Kinda weird. There we go. I do a circle just to give that other bee a little extra chance to move out of the way. So we got a couple high value chests in here, and now we're going to take this shortcut to the sewers. And this will include our world tour, as it were. And that's essentially how you get a really good launch into Super Mario RPG, a really safe start. And the more good platforming you can do, the better. This is the other reason that we go through here, right? Is that it gives you access to this key item, which we just got as the shed key. It's very, very good. And if you do the grind and find a good weapon, most of the enemies that you find here will be doable. We'll see about this one. Mallow's got no armor to speak of, so he might take a bunch of damage, but he'll be fine. So, what am I more worried about? I'm pretty worried about status effects, and I know that I can, but I do know that I can probably beat Domino quickly. So, Domino and his snake have less HP than Cloaker, and they also take a little bit of extra damage from physical attacks. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll the dice here and see if I can, if I can get one attack on the snake, I will probably win. You could try the Sleepy Bomb here, something you could do. I think what I would probably do in this situation is block. And this is great. So Bowser's going to get wrecked, which is pretty much what I want to have happen. I don't want Mallow to die. Yeah. And so you don't actually have to kill Domino, you just have to kill the snake. And you're through. So that's kind of an example of manipulating boss, that's a good growth. Manipulating boss scripts. That's always a mushroom, so I usually leave that. And navigating the sewers backwards is easier because you don't actually have to drain the water or go through all that rigmarole. And you get access to the bosses and the treasures a lot quicker. This is going to be a little annoying, but I think we'll be fine. So the mimic enemies, which would normally appear here, say, have relatively low HP. So this is the less dangerous of the two bosses in here. If I could one-shot the snake, I can probably one-shot this guy. Thank God we got that, what do you call it? That healing mushroom there right by the thing. But I know his HP is low, and if I got 1 in 256 again, that would be pretty bad. That's why I saved when I was done with the previous boss, but, you know. Sure, and hey, our first star piece. I don't think we're gonna finish this seed or anything. But... there you go. So something you can do is you can hop this, right? And that's how we finish this quickly. Actually gonna do that. So this chest will refill with 50 coins, which is, since we're saving for a super suit, probably a pretty good idea. And at this point, the bosses are clear. We're mostly just trying to get out of here at this point with as little effort as possible. And this is how you do that. And you just jump on the warp and you're out of here. And so from there, the world is kind of your oyster. So I would start picking up boss locations that do have key items in them, or multi-boss locations after that. So this is a boss location with a key item. That is, I believe that is going to be Boomer, which I feel pretty good about beating, but again, I haven't played in a while, so it's probably best to save on my way in here. There are a fair number of chests in here. Ah, jumping on flowers. So if I want to launch this way, I want to jump on this flower. If I wanted to be facing that way immediately, I would jump on this lower left-hand corner. Most of us jump on the back so that we face up true north as soon as we get on there, and we take one turn and jump. Whoops. Missed a coin. Jump on the back. So once you figure out the flowers, navigating them is less about RNG and more about careful platforming and preparation and execution. This will also open up the, what do you call it? The Mushroom Kingdom invasion. I'm so bad at this. Doge jump. We'll get a second. Maybe we'll get a second chance Doge jump here. Nope. So if I don't get that with the jumps, I'm generally going to leave it behind and run away. But for the sake of argument, let's see what's here. So yeah, if you don't get that on the first try, and you don't have key items mixed into the pool, it's probably not worth sticking around for this. There'll be enough coins and things in the world for you to find another supersuit. Now, I guess if you had not seen a supersuit in a shop to that point, you might be a little bit more concerned about getting that. But if you can get Doge Jump, perfect. If not, I would generally leave it behind. Unless it could be a key item. Get behind this guy. So we'll get a key item for this. Fertilizer. Or fan. And so now we have the seed and the fertilizer, which is pretty good. I'll tell you what we don't have. We don't have the Bambino Bomb. So here you can turn in the frog coin, the rare frog coin, which is what I did, and we got a tenor card. And a function of the tracker is that these cards are progressive. So left-clicking advances it to the next card tier up, and right-clicking it sends it backwards. You can still shop here and everything. There are limited available items here. You can get a couple extra for saving the toads. This is the only one I choose to go and get. Super Slap. That was a bad weapon, if I remember. These chests in here are not randomized during the takeover. They will be their vanilla items. So those are generally not worth getting. There is a place to go and save. Beware that if you run into enemies here, you cannot escape battle with them. Now, there's a whole tutorial on max skip, and I'm not super good at it. What I will say is that if you do get max skip, and there's a star here, then you get it without having to do the boss fight. Like so. And this is an example of a time when it's really useful to do that. Our allies are not going to benefit from that experience a whole lot. So just clearing that and getting out of there as quickly as possible is as good as you can do. If you have the wallet, you can now turn that in to this gentleman. I think that's a gentleman. I honestly don't know the gender of this toad. But following the takeover, you can now turn in the wallet. That's the trigger for that. That will not be a key item. And ta-da! You're all done with Mushroom Kingdom. And we're all done with the sewers. And so the only thing to do to clear out this area is the forest maze. Let's go and do that. Keep this going for a little while. So I was mentioning earlier, no, we do not have the Bambino Bomb. Let's talk about this real quick. You can farm frog coins from wigglers, and this is how this is done in the speed run, is jumping on their backs. I'm not super good at it. I'm getting a little better, but I have to get a good start. Rats. Anyway, I think if you jump on their back, it's either 8 or 10 times, you can get a frog coin. And so if you get very good at that consistently, that is an okay way to farm a couple frog coins. I would not recommend any more than 3 to 5 that way. If you need more than that, there are better ways to farm it. But otherwise, we're going to try to avoid every encounter in here if we can. There is a treasure in here. Wow, I've never landed on that enemy coming off a pipe before. Not looking good today. Let's see. There we go. Got a Sonic symbol there. That's not something I've seen before, so I want to check that out. Oh, I do have the shed key. That's probably worth going and investigating soon. Oh, we just got a masher. I know I got one earlier, but it's an opportunity to talk about a couple special weapons in the game. Oh, there's a free Sia, so we can sell that. So the masher, the lazy shell, the frying pan, and those are the big offenders. The masher is the worst, I think, followed by the lazy shell and the frying pan. They have what's called high weapon variants, and they are unique to those specific weapons. They do not carry to any other they aren't randomized in other weapons, their damage will fluctuate by up to 30 or 40%, plus or minus. And we're going to go left, left, straight, right, and get the secret here. Just to show you where that's at. It is not randomized, but it will be later on. So left, left, straight, right. Anyway, masher, lazy shell weapon, and frying pan all have this inherent variance to them that make them not great weapons for the most part. And I try to avoid them. If I'm given a lazy shell with 100 attack versus, say, a drill claw with 90 attack, I'm usually going to pick the drill claw because the damage will be consistent, which is what I really value in the randomizer. What happened here? Did I mess this up? Left, left, straight. So that's where this is. You don't actually need to talk to the guy to get to here. Eventually this will be randomized. The best way to get this is here, 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 here. That. The reason you do it that way is it's fastest and you get all of the flowers. And then you get the refill at the end. Whenever you walk into this area where you can't see the character anymore, you want to go right. Otherwise, you can just follow them. So, toadstool, not ideal. So this is a place where if you had the sheep attack, you would want to use it. I don't know if I got one. I don't think I did. And I don't have a lamb's lure. So if you have the sheep attack, this would be a pretty good place to use it. We are instead, I think we're going to use star eggs with toadstool. So this is great for this fight where you get a character who's immediately in battle and has essentially nothing they can do. Star egg is great consistent damage. So the sheep attack would cause all of these enemies to go away and they would not be able to respawn, which makes this significantly easier. And Bowser's damage is less than half of the lazy shell, so we're probably going to have Bowser start using the star egg as well. If it was more than half, I would probably just skip it. But if the star egg is going to do more than 2 attacks worth of damage, then it's worth the time penalty to me. There we go. Let me pick up Toadstool, who I don't really want to be using. But this unfortunately means one of our 2 best characters is going to be locked behind the Bambino Bomb. So I think this is kind of a good example of a bad forest maze, right? If I had had a 3rd character or was potentially looking to go very quickly, I wouldn't have known it, but if I had seen a 3rd character, say in the mines or at Merrymore, which I usually do check Merrymore and see what character is there, and knew that Toadstool was going to be bad, which I do this seed based on her equipment options, this is a great one to skip. Now, you could still get screwed and have a star there, but because there's only 1 boss, the probability is low. There's no key items. The only thing you could get is potentially a bad character. So this is a pretty bad forest maze, and it would have been a decent one to skip. Let's see if it can be redeemed by going in here, talk to Gaz, and get a free item. It's not super good. It's worth money. The one plus to this is that we have the seed and the fertilizer, and normally I wouldn't want to do this. But we are looking for some pretty expensive items in the game, and we found an attack scarf, but there's still a super suit in the pool. So we're going to check this out and hope for the best. But this is a significant time sink. I don't think I would recommend doing this normally. It is a very comical sequence, though. So I guess of the two, we would really prefer to find Gino at Marymore and have Mario locked behind the Bambino bomb. I've seen a lot of people go outside and climb up here. I don't think it's faster than just starting the climb from right in the cabin. Froggy Stick, Ghost Metal. I think the Ghost Metal was okay, but it'll probably sell for a lot. See how we're doing on special items. Yep, I marked everything except the Shade Key. So those are some extra items you have access to there. Mulville. There is a key item in Mulville on the first boss, but I would much rather come back with the Bambino Bomb than go looking for it in here, because again, as much as possible, I want to clear things in one go. So there's not too much I can think of that I would want here instead. So what I would do is I would toy with the idea of doing Booster Tower if I feel like I need levels right now. And I did just get Toadstool, who's not super great, and I have Bowser, who's barely contributing. I do have a Star Egg, though. So I'm going to peek at Marymore and see if this is going to be an easy fight for me or not. You can go in here and very easily walk out the front. Okay, King Calamari, that's not the worst thing we could find here, so you could just leave if you don't want to do this. And Calamari seems kind of daunting because, and it will take a while, but we can potentially go a lot faster with some AoE spells, or I have a Rock Candy, I have the Star Egg, and most of the other stuff I'm not too worried about. So we're gonna do this and hope we don't get RNG screwed. Although, as is our normal modus operandi, things don't usually go according to plan. After this, probably be a good idea to head to Seaside Town. What do you know? You know, Poison Gas and Snowy. Neither, I think Poison Gas is okay. Let's try that. So Poison Gas is weird. It's a little bit difficult to tell how good a spell is going to be from its spell page. Ultra Jump and Geno Flash are pretty good, though. And Poison Gas is kind of the big example of that. It can do an unexpectedly large amount of damage because it has a good hidden multiplier to it. Let's try to finish this quickly. Let's do Firebomb. Might be immune. That'll do. So I think I probably... Okay, so there I should have paused. I should have defended with Bowser and attacked with Toadstool. Because Toadstool would have finished it, and I would have gotten a first round with Mallow here instead. This is still okay, though. he's just going to get a turn a little bit quicker than I had hoped. But we might have been able to avoid 2 attacks from tentacles if I had done it the other way. Something else that could potentially have been done is, and I gotta do a lot of damage to the head, so I'm gonna start in on that now. I do have, this is one of the battles where you have to kill everything, so even if you kill the head, you still have to kill the tentacles. So we're gonna work on the tentacles too. But if you have boosted magic, apparently Bowser does, you'll do 150 damage instead of 100 with the Star Egg. So that was pretty good. There's Mario, there's a star. This is a star check that I recommend doing no matter what. This is totally different from the forest maze because this is quick, right? It is way faster, it's just a boss. There's hardly anything else that you have to deal with. So, let's get in here. I haven't been super impressed with Toadstool or Bowser to this point. We'll see what we can do. So, like I mentioned, mashers are pretty bad. I think the super slap was worse. So, I think this froggy stick is the best weapon for Mario at this point. This is better than nothing, and our attack scarf is going to make Mario viable. Use that. Bowser needs a Jinx belt to be any kind of viable. And he can't use the hand cannon, but he can use that one weapon that we found in Nimbus Land, I think. It was like 70 damage, non-boosted. It was pretty okay. So let's go turn in the shed key and see what we get here. So you can turn in the shed key without beating the boss, and all these shops will open. The bad guy shop will also stay open, but the bad guy shop will close when you defeat the boss here. So here you can see they're still available until you beat the boss there. Haven't seen this before. Not so good. Haven't seen this. It's okay. It might be what we do for Mario. So here's a lazy shell that's 77, and if I compare it against Mallow's weapon, I think Mallow's weapon has 80 damage, so it's a little bit better. But because the lazy shell has really bad variance, I would go with the other weapon every time. So I would sell any lazy shell that I ran into here. Of selling, let's do a little bit of this. Might hang on to that for Toadstool, I'm not sure. Meh. I'll keep this in case I need to spread out my resources a little bit more. I have a lot of these now. KO protection's pretty good. I don't really have a good accessory option for Geno right now, so I think I'm gonna hang on to one of these. Kinda interesting, but no thanks. See what else is going on here. These early game mushrooms we ended up not needing. This is definitely the point where I can toss them. Bad mushroom I'm never gonna use. Poison is not super helpful. Yoshi candy I don't really like. You could just use a max mushroom. Froggy drink might be good. It's group healing, but we're rapidly escaping the health threshold where that's going to be good. Miku cookies very good. We have 2 Sias now. Get rid of earlier times. So you can see we've built up quite a bit of capital now, and the game is really really ramping up from those earlier strategies That would be, again, two excellent armors for Geno, but Geno's the only one that can wear a super suit, so nope. Health food store has items. Crystalline. I like to have 2 crystallines for most of the game. So I'm gonna pick one up. I like to have one for Smithy for sure, and sometimes for the Axum Rangers. This is the accessory shop. If you haven't found an attack scarf, it might be here. Sometimes you can find some pretty good niche items here. And then this middle one, don't go in here in Rando. This guy, you turn in mushrooms, and you can find anything that you can get there somewhere else easier. If you're rolling pretty deep and looking pretty strong, you might consider the Yuridovich boss location at this point. I am not feeling super strong right now. Like, I have a good weapon for Mallow, but Mallow has no armor. He's only got levels that are propping him up, and Mario and Bowser are just starting to get to where they need to be. I do need a Jinx belt for Bowser, and I have a ton of money now, so... Ooh. What I should have done, instead of this, is I should have waited to check this NPC until I did the sunken ship. Really only want, because he has the same shop there that he does in the sea. What we will do, so that would have been the smart thing to do, and to never go back to the sea. Another good thing I can do is pop in here and get a decent weapon for Bowser. So I'm gonna do that. Here it is. It's also decent for Toadstool, but I don't want to invest in her. I think that Mario and Bowser are gonna be fine. Yeah, I'm not investing in Toadstool, I'm writing her off at this point. So, what can I do now? Essentially, what I want to do now is be digging for stars, and potentially, now I'm thinking about, well, can I get Geno? What would help me get Geno? And so, I'm at a crossroads here. If I'm gonna use Geno, I need to get him soon, right? Because otherwise, everybody else is gonna outlevel him. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna head to Booster Tower, which I think has, yeah, it has 3 key items in it, which makes it a really good place. You're almost always going to do Booster Tower in a seed. It has too many bosses and too many key items and too many good things to pass up. So let's do this now. And if we don't find the Bambino Bomb here, then we are pretty much going to have to plan to finish without Geno. That's not to say that we don't have options. You could grind in Land's End with Geno if you wanted to. You could also potentially grind in the volcano, might actually be better. That's the order for that. I don't know. I have it memorized. The room key, so that's upstairs. I'm also, at this point, the reason that I haven't bought a super suit is because I'm not sure I'm going to get Geno. There's a frog coin back in here. You can just walk by that guy as long as you stay at the top. Jump on the coins, and you won't have any problems. Stay on the yellow tiles. Castle key 2. I think there's a super suit here. Lazy shell. Nope. More frog coins. I don't really need them. Hold left and jump a bunch. Here. And you're pretty much through. Oh, I broke it. I kind of broke it intentionally, to be honest, though. 3 Power Blast and a Feather. Feathers usually sell for a good bit. But yeah, no dice on the Bambino Bomb so far. Not here. So we used to come all the way up here and do the curtain minigame because we thought it was a relatively good check, like it had a good chance to have good items. But now we don't. We take that quick, open up booster pass and leave early. And now we fail the minigame because it is way faster. Here's another thing for bosses that you can manipulate. I don't think you can miss this enemy, and doing timed attacks has no effect. It is a number of hits to break the shell. So don't do timed attacks until the shell breaks. And ideally, you want to avoid her threshold where she does this dialogue. But we just aren't strong enough to manipulate that. 1 in 256 again. So Bowser's damage is more than half of what he would do with a Star Egg now. Mario's really isn't, so I could probably Star Egg with him. I guess other general advice is learn the boss scripts, watch players who are good at this randomizer when you can on Twitch, and learn as much about them as you can. Ask them, unlike me, to turn their input viewer on so that you can see when the timed attacks are happening. And Birdo has a lot of health here. Expected to be done already. Birdo does roll abnormally high physical defense very often. Shed key, room key, that's done. I also haven't found the bright card, which is pretty no bueno. Oh hey, group hug on Mallow. Wow, that is a big HP growth. Alright, so really good time to use AoE stuff. Since Mario and Bowser don't have... Bowser's getting stronger, Mario's not super strong. We're probably gonna Star Egg through a lot of this just to get the sniffets down, and then switch to physicals on booster. And I don't have a ton of time left, so we're going to wrap this up soon. But we'll get through a good chunk of other stuff. There we go, that's better. So at this point, after we beat Booster, I will go back in. We've got to find the bright card no matter what. It's so good that unless... Oh, Loco Express, look out. The bright card is so good that unless you have 3 people with god tier weapons, super suits, and attack scarves, you are basically going to want a bright card in order to make the end game faster. Now that I know I'm not using Toadstool, I'm going to click through hers as quickly as possible and not worry about her level up bonus. Let's pop back in here. You don't actually have to go to the world map. I was just talking and I can't do 2 things at once. We're going to go back up and find Knife Guy. This is the vanilla location to get the bright card. And this is the last chance that I'm giving to find Geno, essentially. After this, if I don't find Geno here, if I don't find the Bambino Bomb here to go and get Geno, I am pretty much writing him off, which is really sad, because he's going to be the strongest character with equipment by far. Left. Castle Key 1. So we have Castle Key 1 and 2, so we could full clear Nimbus Land at this point. You can beat 1 boss in Nimbus Land without any keys. You can beat 2 bosses with Castle Key 1, and you can beat 3 bosses with Castle Key 1 and 2. Alright, so no Geno. So what does that mean? We have no Bambino Bomb. So if we go in here and we don't find the Bambino Bomb, then we have to re-dive Moleville potentially later. Ideally, we don't want to have to do that. We would much rather not have to do that. So that's why I'm pretty much writing it off here. And instead, going to focus on leveling the characters that I do have. So I would go to the Sunken Ship next, because Sunken Ship, while it has no key items, it does have 3 bosses. And I'm not actually going to clear the Sunken Ship. I'm just going to show you a couple of things, and then head out. Let's see. So I think this is not randomized, so I would not worry about that. You can sneak into each of these rooms if you're careful. This one is randomized, so this is a potential random treasure that could be good. Is that gonna work? Maybe. Yep. Okay. This is the 3D maze. Look up a solution for this. There's great videos of these that have cross sections of what's going on. Essentially, I want to work my way up here and jump into the upper right, and then hold up and hold left once I get up here. Might have messed it up. I may have forgotten how to do this. Really? I guess I did. Huh. Been so long since I've done this, did I forget the solution to this? I remember it being easy once I figured out where I was and where the ledges were. Maybe I'm hitting a pit once I get to where I'm supposed to go. Yeah, it looks like I fell there. That's the problem. look up a solution to that. That's potentially a randomized item. That chest is never worth getting, in my opinion. It is worth knowing that if you've randomized your key items to kill these dry bones, they don't actually have HP, you just have to hit them with a spell and they will die. Earlier I mentioned I should not have gone to the sea to check this vendor. I should have waited until I was here to do this. One potentially useful thing to do early is to come to this room. If you can make it to this room without running into any battles, this is another great place to find about 150 coins, I think it is, and to do it with very little effort. So if you're pretty starved for items or cash in the seed, that might be a good early option. And I don't think that's randomized, and that goes to the boss. The password is pearls. I think we are potentially changing and randomizing some of that stuff for 9.0, so don't get super comfortable with that. This is, I'm gonna mess this up because it's super weird for me to go backwards out of here. I'm getting better at it because sometimes you go backwards for bingo, but generally you don't do it in the randomizer. The randomizer proper. Let's see, what else? Seaside Town. So the boss that's here, who is it? It's Exor? So I'm actually going to check and see if I have Gino Whirl on anybody. See if she has it. If she has it, she's worth bringing in for one fight. She does not. So this is going to be a tough, kind of traditional Exor fight. My characters are pretty underleveled, so I will be trying to do this at a pretty severe disadvantage. I mostly just want to know what the key item behind here is, so I'm going to give it one shot. But normally I would have gone through the, what do you call it? The sunken ship, gotten significantly more experience, and been ready to go for this. So what do I want to do here? I think I want to try a Sleepy Bomb. Cool. We got a freebie, and we put to sleep 2 of the parts of Exor. Which is about as much as we could have asked for. So I'm going to focus my attacks. That's not good. Yeah. So this guy is going to be really strong. What you can potentially do is, if you get a turn before Exor goes, like we did, and you have Gino Whirl, you can actually do it right at the beginning. He isn't protected until you get that message, the eye is protecting Exor. So we would probably try to kill one eye here. And he's busting out the classics here. Nice. And I'm gonna try not to wake up the other parts while I do this. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish this fight, unfortunately, because I'm trying to do it under-leveled. We'll see what we can do here. Everything just woke up. So I would toss out probably another Sleepy Bomb here, or commit to trying to get them all down. Yeah, this is no good. So we're not gonna find out about that. We're just gonna keep moving with the seed and talk about some other strategies that you might run into or might be useful to you as you go. But yeah, the sunken ship bosses would be really useful there to keep you going. Ah, here we go. So if you're having trouble, this is another thing you can do, is you could come in here and do the Monster Town bosses, which are significantly easier. These are like chest enemies, essentially, with the amount of HP that they have. Their defense is going to be kind of similar to Exor, so we're not going to hit super hard. And they're going to hit kind of hard, but if there's any of them that have magic damage, they're going to be pretty well neutered by most of this. And Dodo is a boss I have a lot of trouble with blocking his regular attack, because it is very quick. Glad missed that one. The other nice thing is that if you lose here, you just you don't game over. You just go back to the dojo. So this is a very safe place to head if you're having a little bit of trouble getting through that seaside boss. There we go. So, significantly easier than the previous location. And this is one of the rare cases where that's going to be true. However, if your time blocks are not up to snuff, you're going to have some trouble there. But this is a great place to quickly accrue experience. You can only potentially get a star on the first and fourth boss from here. So I think that's all the information I have about that. Pop in here real quick. Just really bad. Really bad armor rolls this seed. Like Mallow and Mario essentially have nothing. And Gino's the only good character, is locked behind stuff. We try not to do Land's End. It is like the forest, except you don't get a character. There is a, I guess we should talk about Tadpole Pond songs. So the second song is locked behind the Bambino Bomb and finishing the minecart ride, and the third song is locked behind the minecart ride and finishing Land's End. So if the break card is there, it's pretty bad, but it's still faster generally to do that than to go through the factory. But we try to avoid this at all possible because it's a very long run, potentially a pretty difficult boss. There are 4 mandatory armored ant battles to get through the whirlpools. It's just a mess. You really hope that you don't have to do Land's End. It's almost for sure going to be the last thing that you do, unless you know that the last key item in the game is the break card and it's locked behind it. Otherwise, you skip it. Bean Valley, we can probably walk through that real quick. Show you where some of the chests are. Is it up? I can never remember this. Nope. Every time. I always forget which pipe to go down. Chest here. There's another chest down here. And there are actually very few randomized chests that you can get from this set of 5. Pidge has coded this so that the enemy, it always goes to this first, which leads to the mini-boss. And for the sake of getting through this, we're just gonna kill this very quickly. There we go. Of course. So, this is an area with a ton of experience because I'm very underleveled for here. And then it's random after that. This is the only other one you want, is up top here. So this one on the right is always first. This goes to the chest boss. And this one up top is the one that leads to the casino. So here's how, in my opinion, you should approach this room. You should hang out right here, waiting for the Shy Guy to water this enemy. As soon as they do, you kill this enemy, and you see if the Shy Away is going up here. Now, in our case, the Shy Away immediately went to the top, which is the best possible RNG. If that happens, go and kill the second one, like we did immediately. If they don't go to the top, go down, kill the boss. There's a frog coin back here. I think the boss is in that chest. Pretty sure. Nope, boss is in that chest. Whoops. This is probably bad, but we'll see what we can do. Against Gunyoke, we're gonna... oh god. We want to try and kill Gunyoke before it gets a chance to use Breaker Beam. It uses it every other turn. It's a pretty bad time. Yeah, this is... we're just too low level. I don't think we can see out of this. Yeah. Anyway, what you would want to do next is after you finish this boss and get the treasure chest, there is one off the trampoline that was in this room. So that's a chest down there, a frog coin if you want it, and then jump on the trampoline, you'll come up where there's one additional chest. Leave the boss battle, come up, see if the Shy Away immediately goes for the top one. If they don't, go kill the Mega Smilax, save and go kill the Mega Smilax boss, and then come back in, and you just have to wait for it. So essentially you're just giving the Shy Away as many chances at first trying that pipe as possible, and trying not to wait for it to select it. But after you do the mini boss pipe and the main boss, you basically just have to wait for it, and you go in there and you open up the casino. Let's see. Volcano. Don't do Volcano. Nimbus Land with keys has 3 bosses and a couple of key item locations. It's generally better than Volcano unless you have no keys. If Bowser's Keep is open, Bowser's Keep has 3 bosses, and it is best to play that really aggressively. If you have 3 keys, Nimbus Land is going to be the easiest and give you the most key item locations. It's the best without a doubt. Without, Bowser's Keep is probably the next best, and Barrel Volcano is last place, and then Land's End is below last place. For Bowser's Keep, I think this is how I will end the video. Nimbus Land, you just kind of go through. There is a way to sneak past the heavy troopas that most people are familiar with. The way that you do that is you get close to the door like this, and just try to sneak right by it on the earliest pixel you can get in, and you can sneak around the heavy troopas like that. And there are 2 that you would need to do that too. Other than that, it's pretty much a vanilla type kind of experience in Nimbus Land, and you go check your, what do you call it, your key items afterwards. So you would get 1 from the Birdo boss location, and then 1 after you beat the Valentina location from where the fertilizer is. So what I want to show you with the 6 doors is that if you came in here and found a battle immediately, I would do a soft reset, which is start, select L and R on your controller. And all I really want to show you here, this does take some time and it's generally not worth doing soft resets, but this is one place where it is. So if you save here and you found a battle, you would immediately go to door 2, because the RNG roll stays the same when you do a soft reset. So if I go back in here, you can see it's the same one again, and I'm going to show you a third time. It's not chance. Every time you do a soft reset, you get the same RNG with your 6 doors. So essentially you want to find your first door and make sure that it's not a battle, and that's about as good as you can do with this, right? That does it for the tutorial. It was significantly longer than I expected, but got through a lot of stuff. Hopefully this helps you. Most people are probably going to benefit greatly from a lot of those early tips, and just because we were trying to show stuff and not complete the seed, although we did get RNG screwed quite a bunch in this video, just because it's going to be a tutorial video, the RNG was automatically going to be as bad as it possibly could be. And that's randomizer though. So, but hopefully this helped you out a little bit, and helps you out with that world tour. Practice your platforming. Being able to do all of that early game stuff I did without running into any enemies is going to greatly speed up your game and make the early game go super fast and give you this great springboard to work off of. And if you do it right, you can just keep steamrolling through the seed. We basically stopped hustling when we skipped the sunken ship, and that really hurt us and kept us from doing anything else. But I think if we had gone through there looking for stars, we may have hit 6 stars at that point and just been doing a key item dive. It's really, you know, you're kind of playing it by ear at that point. Anyway, I'm Sinus, Twitch TV/Sinus. I have been playing a lot of Shuffler lately. I used to play a lot of Super Mario RPG Randomizer. I am certain that I will pick it up a lot again once version 9.0 comes out. And there's no way to speed up that process, but I am part of the testing team, so when it gets close and we start trying to break seeds, I'll be getting pretty invested in that. I would not expect 9.0 to arrive in 2023. I think with the remake happening and coming out in October, I think Pidge is too far away from 9.0 to finish before the remake comes out. And one of the great things about having a developer that's passionate about this game is that they know a lot about it and they play it a lot. So when that comes out, I expect Pidge to just be MIA, enjoying this experience all over again, and to maybe circle back to it in 2024, and with a new type of motivation to finish it. So that's my prediction on that. So that's kind of why I wanted to do this this VOD, this tutorial, because I think this version is going to be around for at least 6 months to another year before 9.0 comes out, because 9.0 is literally changing the engine of the game and the code of the game. It is a huge, massive undertaking, and it's gonna be awesome when it's done. There's a lot of stuff for Pidge to fight through, and they're doing it all on their own. So, I mean, I helped with what little that I could, and there's a pretty dedicated team to testing, but from here, you know, it's really them battling battling the demons of this randomizer, and we appreciate every minute of it. And I hope that because the remaster is coming out, a lot of people are going to be looking at this and looking to find new ways to have fun and to love Super Mario RPG. So I hope this was helpful. I will probably be picking up the re-release or remaster or whatever it's going to be and playing that when it comes out, and then I'll be probably getting back into this once the shuffler bug ends. And I'd also like to tamp down my Final Fantasy X time a little bit as time goes on. Anyway, I'm Sinus. As usual, this has been a mistake. We'll see you next time.
We are